And if there's a possibility for you to leverage a municipal network, if you have a mayor or anyone who actually can understand that, then you play that ace all day, because that is an ace. But in the absence of your ace, your next highest card is whatever you have.
Welcome to another episode of the Community Broadband Bits podcast. I'm Christopher Mitchell at the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, and I'm talking to someone who thinks that I am pretty silly. I got Joshua Edmonds over here, the CEO of DigitalC in Cleveland. Before we launch into today's show, I wanted to share a little bit about some interesting things that are coming up. One is a live stream on June 7th at 3 Eastern Time, our next Building for Digital Equity live stream. This will be the fourth one. We've had a lot of good feedback on our others. It's an interesting mix of presentations and trivia and Q&A. And you can find more at buildingfordigitalequity.com, where you'll see information about that live stream on June 7th at 3 Eastern Time. Also there, you'll see information about the Building for Digital Equity podcast, of which we have many episodes and more to come. These are shorter discussions about people doing that hard work. And then for those of you who haven't heard about the Connect This show, we are going to be continuing to do those about every 2 weeks. And you can find more at connectthisshow.com. That is an hour-long video show, usually a little bit longer than that, often featuring Travis Carter from USI Fiber in Minneapolis, Kim McKinley from Utopia Fiber, and Doug Dawson, the consultant extraordinaire. So if you haven't caught any of those, they're best on video. You can watch them on YouTube. You can find that and additional shows from ILSR, the Institute for Local Self-Reliance, where I work, at ilsr.org/podcasts. Welcome.
Thank you. I don't have nearly as much of an animated intro that you do. However, very impressed with it. And yep, CEO of DigitalC. We're a nonprofit technology social enterprise. We're WISP. On one hand, we offer competitive broadband services at $18 a month. On the other hand, we run the Midtown Tech Hive, which is a co-working and collaboration space.
And you're not a regular listener of this show, because then you would know that that's the intro. Just give yourself away.
Well, I mean, still, but I don't see it live.
No, that's all right. Sean doesn't listen to it either.
Admittedly, though, like you did it live right next to me, and
yeah.
I'm like, oh man, it was just animated.
I do most of it just to impress Travis Carter because his wife was annoyed by it, so we started hamming it up, and that's how we got here. So we also have listening in Sean Gonsalves, my colleague here, who may or may not shout in a question. Might podcast bomb this episode like I've got you with Dwight. So anyway, DigitalC. Let's talk about the origin story, like the quick version of the origin story. You came into existence for me at Net Inclusion in Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Wow.
That was before you were the rock star on the circuit. So.
Yeah, at that point I was just maybe connecting amps to use a rock star extended metaphor. So actually, I was in charge of planning Net Inclusion in Cleveland. So that was when I was working for the Cleveland Foundation at the time. However, prior to that, I was working at the Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority. So CMHA, that's the local housing authority in Cleveland and throughout the county. And that was my first taste of interacting with DigitalC then, because we had actually put up a SICLU radio on one of the public housing properties. And that was my first introduction of like a WISP or an alternative broadband provider servicing residents in public housing. So it goes from that to then the Cleveland Foundation, where DigitalC was a grantee of mine, and then off to Detroit, now back to DigitalC. So it's a bit of a full circle moment for me. And it's funny, they've been in my orbit ever since I started doing digital equity work.
So your heart's in Cleveland.
My heart, my family, a lot of things. Now, I love Detroit. And that's one thing I will not depart. No, I love Detroit.
You were the digital equity director there?
Correct. So I spent the last 4 years in Detroit and left Detroit in November. However, the family is back home in Cleveland. And I saw, my brother, he just got married. Oh, no, he just had a kid. I'm sorry. My sister has kids. I'm seeing my family. My mom works in downtown Cleveland. I'm like, okay, at this point, family is calling. And I'm proud to say that actually my sister is one of our customers for DigitalC. Now, admittedly, like most families, she didn't know what I did. And so even when I said, hey, I do this, she had no clue. And it wasn't until the technician had already installed the service and she said, wait, DigitalC. Is your CEO Joshua? And the guy's like, yeah. She's like, that's my baby brother. He's like, wait, what? I'm like, yep, that's how families work.
He thinks of you as being this for people that don't know, you're muscularly built. You were a jock.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Like he's just like, wait, Josh. Yeah. She's like, oh no, that's my baby brother. Oh, are you kidding me?
I forget now. We talked about this. You did track, right?
Yeah, and then I didn't know that I could put on muscle by lifting weights.
I didn't know that either. It took me a long time. Yeah. I always thought I was going to be a scrawny guy. Yeah. So you're looking at me like you're a scrawny guy, but I'm less scrawny than I used to be.
Yeah. No, it was.
What was your event?
I did mid distance.
Okay.
So 800. I would jump up to the mile.
Because there's a woman here, Ebony from NextLink. She did the 800. She ran the 800 for the University of Miami. She's serious.
She might have been faster than me. She might have been. No, she wasn't. But she was probably close.
We did an interview with her for the other podcast, the Building for Digital Equity show. And that's actually not yet published. It's coming out soon. So anyway, Detroit, did you help to create Connect 313?
Correct. So where that actually came from, when I first got to Detroit, and I kind of touched on it this morning's keynote of just like, hey, 2019, that's when I arrived. January 2019 to be specific. And at the time, there wasn't really a citywide coalition. That was the first time the city even ventured into doing something like that. So what does a director of digital inclusion do when you have no staff, you have no budget, and no recognition because no one knew who I was? Mm-hmm. What you do is you create what I call the stone soup model. And that's more so a microcosm to a larger parable that was told. But essentially what I was doing is I was building community because I had to. There wasn't a choice. Mm-hmm. Everyone in my mind and people around me, Beth Niblock, she was our CIO at the time. She was snapping her fingers at me all the time saying, wins, we need wins. And I'm like, Beth, I hear you. I need something. So I created the first iteration, which was 313 Connect. So if you guys ever watch Iron Man, that was like the first Iron Man suit when he was still in that, like kind of janky and whatever. Exactly. That was 313 Connect. And then after 313 Connect, I got feedback from someone who did marketing for the city who said, that sounds like a phone number. And so then we switched it around and we created Connect 313. So originally it started in the city, but then just being able to, I wouldn't say sell because I don't want to say that's what I did, but building community, building collaboration all around a central vision and an ideology around community that could live under a generic enough umbrella that no one would have any issues, but specific enough that you know what I was talking about. And that's where Connect 313 was created.
Awesome. All right. So that's how Connect 313 comes into place. Connect 313 moving strong, independent now. And I just met some of those folks at a boot camp. It was terrific. A lot of young folks. Not only, I mean, there's other people there who, hilariously were looked upon as mother figures in some cases, yeah. and I can tell there's a little bit of enjoyment among people in the different areas, working together, learning from each other, bringing different skills to how they're organizing.
That's right.
Detroit ends up being the best city on the ACP with almost half of all eligible people enrolled at this point. It looks like.
We love it. I am so impressed. I remember when we were first trying to do EBB and we launched an EBB 313 campaign, because we were so afraid of the federal funding being clawed back because we didn't use the subsidy. So like there was this sense of emergency at the onset. Yes, we were looking at residents' current situations, but we also knew that this funding had future weights attached to it. So if we hit it as hard as we could, if we were so organized, if we could have a call center, if we had messaging and branding, we created partner toolkits, we worked with AARP on faith-based campaigns. I mean, we did everything that we could. And when it transitioned to ACP, we had a big enough lead. And I mean, yeah, we talk about track, but like the mentality was a race. Mm-hmm. And I told people that I wanted us to be the best city in the country when it came to enrollments. I wanted us to blow everyone out the water. That was the goal. And yes, it was about the resident, but I'll be honest, this is what happens when you're putting your whole entire mentality into something. Like when you're going to use your competitive edge, and wow, like we're competing cities now. Now Cleveland, Cleveland has a really high ACP enrollment rate
Second
too.
in the nation, as
But
best we
it's
can
like
tell. Yeah.
Detroit and Cleveland, I'm like, oh man, now I'm betting on 2 horses here.
Yeah. Well, Cleveland went from being one of the lower ones to
That's
being
right.
one of the better ones.
That's right.
No, and that just brings to mind Robin Williams' line from Cadillac Man, which maybe 1 or 2 people that are listening to this will catch the reference to. But in response to a hilarious question, he says, "It's not easy. It's never easy." Like, it's hard work. Right?
It is.
Like, you didn't stumble into doing that.
No. There was I would refer to it as a relentless preparation. I think that sometimes I come up for air and it just seems like, oh, casual, laughy, happy, whatever. But I'm like, no. In that moment, though, very serious, especially because in Detroit, you have a lot of people, in Cleveland too, a lot of people just felt let down by a number of things. And so I knew we were also working against that skepticism, that we had to do something that was pervasive enough to get the attention, but not provocative enough to say, if I'm a mayor, I don't want any parts of this. So we always told that line, and that was a very nuanced balancing act. I'm thankful to be able to do that, but I think that sometimes either people are too conservative in how they treat mayors, or way too aggressive. Finding that special middle was something we had to do all the time, but when we hit that balance, it allowed us to get everybody else aligned within the city. So
You've moved from a project where you were working on a really inspiring project around Hope Village, bringing fiber out, owned by the city of Detroit, open access fiber. And I don't want to spend a lot of time rehashing that. I would like to sort of compare that then to like working through a city process. Now you're part of a lean and mean nonprofit machine where you have I would hope less red tape. Where's digital? What's the 90 seconds on what DigitalC is?
Yeah, so DigitalC, nonprofit technology social enterprise. We offer a fixed wireless solution. We're actually looking at wireline solutions too. But again, internet at $18 a month. And currently we are having plans to expand to provide citywide coverage, as well as even going to another neighboring city. So we'll be a regional internet provider. Again, all built on an affordability, but leveraging next-gen wireless technology to do it.
And it was created with kind of a unique situation because a lot of nonprofits don't start with a bank that DigitalC did. But DigitalC got a big infusion of cash.
Correct.
At its creation from the privatization of one community.
That's right.
The big nonprofit Northeastern Ohio event.
Yep. So there was they essentially bought out all of our shares, and the agreement that we have now with Everstream, their commercial internet provider, fiber provider, I should say. So we actually tap into their fiber, which then allows us to build a line of sight network throughout the city. Now we use unlicensed spectrum to deliver our services. Now that we've won the city's RFP, that is allowing us to provide citywide coverage at 100 over 100. And so we've been looking at a bevy of vendors that can guarantee, even going through foliage, that we have some type of refractory technology that allows us to guarantee speeds minimum of 100 through fixed wireless. It's still at $18 a month. So
it's wild.
For us, there is a strong emphasis on enterprise and growing this social enterprise. Historically, DigitalC has been much more of a nonprofit. I would even argue we've been more charitable. But moving forward with this ARPA funding, we know that we want this money to sustain, because there will be a need for the next 5, 10, 15 years for an affordable broadband provider, and we want to make sure that we're sustainable in that.
And $18 a month as a nonprofit, you are seeking to be financially sustainable at that rate.
Correct. So we will offer blended solutions, or blended services, I should say. So $18 is our lowest tier. We will offer a $29 tier as well as a $49 tier. And so our thinking is, if we're able to provide a competitive service, we are going to be able to get some of these legacy customers from some of these other internet providers who want to invest in a provider that is headquartered in the city of Cleveland and that is mission driven. Mm-hmm. And so there are other things that we are looking at bringing to the table, but sustainability is definitely top of mind for us. It'd be great if we got other funding from elsewhere, but our mind is, let's operate as if there is no other funding, that the funding that we're getting from this RFP is all that's ever going to come, and we need to make sure we knock this out the park.
You had to navigate an RFP through the city of Detroit.
That's right.
Working through that process. Now, as you're looking to make investments into technology for DigitalC, is it more nimble? Like, do you feel like you have, like, what is the pro and con of the different approaches?
So, in Detroit, with Connector and 3 in the city, I think it's worth exploring that first. So Connect 3 and 3 allowed us to effectively get things done faster. If our partners could philanthropically support some of our priorities that we had within the city, then there was no red tape we had to go through. Mm-hmm. So in that case, it almost looked like a football player who knows ballet.
A lot of the offensive and defensive linemen do.
They do.
Yeah, they got to get that footwork down.
And so that's what it felt like at times. Then there was other times where we were in the city side, the king seat, where from a chess standpoint, you only have one move on each side. You really couldn't move anywhere. And I think that's the part where it did feel very limiting at times. So freeing via Connect 3 and 3, limiting within the city, but yet it was the most weighted, powerful actor in the ecosystem.
Right. I mean, the city has tens of millions of dollars available to help make this happen.
Well, but let's say even if they didn't, let's say if ARPA funding was even there, it's the social and political capital. Mm-hmm. And mobilizing that accordingly allowed us to get this other part too. And so I think like those are the things where very, very powerful if used correctly. On the DigitalC front, it's a completely different pace. My very first day, November 1st of last year, I actually had to go in front of the city for the review committee for the RFP. So I went from Detroit government. October 31st is my last day. November 1st is my first day at the city, and I was at DigitalC. I was at the city of Cleveland. Actually, next week we're going to be in front of city council again. We're going to be talking to them about the RFP. So I'm actually getting much more engaged still with city politics in a way where I now know these ropes, but I still have to have an organization I have to run back to. And so like those are the things where I would just say it's different. I think it might be a little bit too early for me to see the differences because I still feel restricted no matter what, no matter where I'm going. It still feels like you need to perform, and this is the city, and this is the mayor setting this priority, and you all need to do. So I see a difference, but it's a little bit too early to tell like how different they are.
What's more intimidating and harder to do? Doing that first day in front of a city council, you just came into town, mm-hmm. Versus going in front of, which I know you had to do, the citizens in Hope Village and saying that you missed the deadline, the schedule that you.
The city council one was hard. It's harder. The citizens of Hope Village, that was easier, only because we were honest. Honesty, while people might not want to hear it, they appreciate it. And see, there was something that I saw in Detroit. So I didn't live in like really affluent areas when I was in Detroit at all. And there I was taught a value because one of my neighbors kind of acclimated me and said, hey, look, I'm going to tell you how it is here. If you're cool, we're cool. So act accordingly. And so I said, okay, well, the cool thing to do is if I didn't do something right, let me get in front of you all and let me tell you why things didn't go the way that I wanted it to.
Right.
And it was met with respect. People kind of just nodded their head and said, okay, all right, well, thank you. Because so many times whenever someone stands up here and they're beating their chest on what they're going to do, and then something doesn't go right, they don't come back.
Right.
But you came back in front of us and you told us what it is, and we respect that. So I earned their respect, and I'm thankful for that. The council one, only reason why, actually, that one's not too hard either. I was just more so saying that's harder because if I had to rank them, but the council one's not too hard either because it's understanding where people are coming from. You have a lot of council members who understand the historic opportunity that's in front of them, and they want to use this ARPA funding to improve their neighborhoods, their wards, their districts. So the beauty of it is, as we go in front of there, my job is to give them the certainty that they need so that way they can tell their residents what's coming. So all I'm looking at that part, I'm the role of the empower there. I want to empower my council members to be able to think in a way where they can sleep at night knowing that they made the right decision by backing DigitalC. So in both cases, they're easier, I guess.
Right. So that's good. And I think that's good for people to hear. I mean, I think a lot of times there is a sense that these things are harder than they actually are.
That's right.
And I like you said, I have always found that when I am open with people and I admit like, oh, I don't actually know that thing, or, I don't, there's a group of people that they think that like it's a weakness not to know something.
Yeah.
Man, like in the world we're living in, there's so much stuff.
That's right. That's right. And
no, nobody knows everything.
Again, like that's human nature, and that's acknowledgement of human nature. And I think like those are the things where I'll be honest, my team at the city, they know I would index on this heavily. We have to understand human nature. We have to understand the way people think. And it's funny now that I'm running DigitalC as a WISP standpoint, we absolutely have to understand. We have to sell our services. We have to understand people who don't fill out their census, who don't vote, who somehow are going to book an appointment for internet. Mm-hmm. That is a psyche thing that we have to understand. So the more we understand and act within the confines of human nature, the more successful we'll be. The more we distance ourselves, the more disingenuous we look.
Mm-hmm. So let me tell you what I got from your presentation this morning. Joshua Edmonds, the man who said, "We will not solve this with a coupon. We cannot solve this problem with a coupon." That the FCC rolled up on you in Detroit and intimidated you.
They did.
And you talk about it differently now.
They hold on. They did not intimidate me. I'll put it this way. They surprised me. They did surprise me. I said, okay. And yes, we cannot coupon our way to equity. That is true. I still believe in that. I do believe that the networks that are being built need to take affordability, actually put that at the center and not use that as an afterthought. But I also understand timing too. And I know that we can't solve for one without solving for the other. So it's like we can't yank out the Affordable Connectivity Program and just say, oh, well, there's no funding. Funding ran out. Well, to me, that's like, so we were successful. So we won. So we showed that there was a need. So it's like, well, if you show that there's a need, then you re-up in it. If the Affordable Connectivity Program actually lasted for another 3 years, we failed. And I think that's the reality that we need to be looking at. It's like, okay, wait, you mean to tell me victory is now defeating us? That we legitimately did the right thing here, and now we're getting this pulled back from us. I don't believe that we should look at the Affordable Connectivity Program as the end-all, be-all. I believe that the networks need to be built smarter and much more intentional. But in the meantime, while those networks are still being designed, not even built at this point, just designed, then I do think that it's only fair that we actually prioritize what's working right now and continue doing that, and then use whatever rate at which we are seeing the enrollment, use that to undergird the way that we're designing these networks. I think that's the smarter approach.
How replicable is DigitalC, do you think? Which is to say that, like, I feel like right now there's a strain of thought, which is more or less, a lot of people I think, all right, Charter, AT&T, and Comcast, like, they're going to solve a lot of the problem in the big cities. Yeah. I still think that's not the right solution.
No.
But I think people look at the solution of building a new network, and they're like, oh, that's just too hard. It's too expensive. Yeah. It can't happen. And DigitalC has such a unique birth story that I don't like saying people, well, look, Cleveland did it, so everyone else can do it. Well, that's kind of a one-off.
Yeah, I agree.
But, like, what if we learned that, like, what if someone came to you from Memphis or New Orleans and was like, hey, what can we learn from DigitalC? What would you tell them?
I would tell them fixed wireless is a viable option, and it's not going anywhere.
And this is coming from the guy who is fiber.
But also, our network runs on fiber, too. So, like, we need fiber to run our network. Mm. And so, now, do I believe in municipal ownership? Oh, yes, I do. I absolutely do. But at the end of the day, I also believe in playing the cards that we have. And if there's a possibility for you to leverage a municipal network, if you have a mayor or someone, county exec, anyone who actually can understand that, then you play that ace all day, because that is an ace. But in the absence of your ace, your next highest card is whatever you have. And so in our case for DigitalC, well, if we already have fiber that's, from a commercial provider that's willing to work with us, we can negotiate those terms accordingly. And then off of that, we can then provide a fixed wireless solution and then back in a cost model that works for us. Mm-hmm. And so I would say that it's replicable in the sense that there is not a single city in this country, and I don't believe this, and maybe I'm just being naive here, but I don't think there's a single city in this country where we just can't do anything. It's like, no.
100%.
We can do something. Mm-hmm. And I do believe a fixed wireless network is something that should be considered much more than it is. Right now, NTIA, while they mean well, I think that the oversaturation of fiber, I saw that one headline, America has too much fiber in their broadband diet. And I'm like, man, that's a beautiful headline.
Yeah, I think there's a difference. I think if you're making a generational investment in rural areas, like, I think it is smart to go overboard on fiber.
So I don't disagree, but I think that the issue that I'm seeing, though, is when you swing the pendulum that far that way, mm-hmm. there are, like, let's not discard good because we're seeking perfection. And so in this case, yes, I do believe that for these broader, bigger investments, even from a future-focused standpoint, fiber all the way. But also understanding that there are some cases where if you can do a fixed wireless solution, do that, and then over time you can still build. I think that there's like this like rat race that's happening right now. It's like, guys, look, we're not going anywhere. Like this issue is not going anywhere. Like we still need to be thinking creatively and putting all of our eggs in one basket right now. I'm like, no, we don't need to do that. We can understand that that is the basket all of us want to get to. I believe that a fiber optic open access network is the way to go. I think that's actually the supreme way to go, even more than what we're doing right now. But I also understand the scales that and the weight that's going to be needed to get us there. And I just don't think that we're near there. And the only thing that people can point out right now are exceptions. And I'm like, no, those don't make the rule. Fixed wireless is a viable alternative, at the very least for a shorter term, that allows you to identify some of your broadband goals, allows you to get some fiber optic investment that then could then trickle in through a subscriber model. Then you can do additional build out too.
Right. Getting something out there today that serves people's needs today is far better than a plan. That's right.
Like go. I think this is the thing that I'm afraid of in this moment. There are a lot of plans. There's money that we spend on planning, millions of dollars on planning. And I'm like, guys, we have to go. This is our moment. And if we try and squander this moment because we're looking for the perfect deployment, perfect solution, I think we're going to miss this. And then by the time we actually get it out the oven, it's going to be like, oh, people already ate. We're kind of good.
Last quick question, because I'm running out of time. I'm going to turn into a pumpkin here pretty soon. 10 years down the road, a lot of different factors could change in different directions. Do you think DigitalC is three choices? Mostly wireless, strong mix, mostly fiber in terms of the customers that you're serving?
Strong mix. I know with other fiber optic build outs, I actually have been looking at our MDUs and actually we've been developing internally a wireline strategy. So it's like we know, and we are a blended technology company. When I say we're a fixed wireless company, it's just because we do index much more heavily on fixed wireless today. But at the end of the day, whether it's wireline, whether it's fiber, whatever it takes, whatever requires us to connect a household, that's what we're going to use.
Thank you so much, Joshua.
Thank you.
We have transcripts for this and other podcasts available at muninetworks.org/broadbandbits. Email us at podcast@muninetworks.org with your ideas for the show. Follow Chris on Twitter. His handle is @CommunityNets. Follow muninetworks.org stories on Twitter. The handle's @muninetworks. Subscribe to this and other podcasts from ILSR, including Building Local Power, Local Energy Rules, and the Composting for Community podcast. You can access them anywhere you get your podcasts. You can catch the latest important research from all of our initiatives if you subscribe to our monthly newsletter at ilsr.org. While you're there, please take a moment to donate. Your support in any amount keeps us going. Thank you to Arnie Hughesby for the song Warm Duck Shuffle, licensed through Creative Commons. This was the Community Broadband Bits podcast. Thanks for listening.